Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Distinguished officers on the dais and all the visiting officers and my colleagues and my dear students. According to Indian culture tradition, it is believed that Atithi Devo Bhav, that means guests are divine beings. So, with the very spirit, on behalf of all members of my institute, I would like to extend our heartfelt greeting and very warm welcome to you all to the Central Institute of Higher Tibetan Studies, Sarnath. I also wanted to let you know that just about 2 weeks ago, the summer vacation of the Institute started and the teaching section of the Institute is closed at the moment until the 30th of June. Almost all the teaching faculties and students have gone on the summer vacation and only a few them are here, gathered here in this hall. I believe that your visit to our institute is the first on your schedule of visit to prominent place of cultural significance during your tour to the ancient city of Varanasi, which is known as the center of Indian arts and culture, and you will be witnessing glimpses of the richness of Indian culture in the next few days of your stay in this city. The significance of Sarnath, which is the first on your itinerary, lie in the suburb of the Varanasi, is that it is one of the major holy places for Buddhists. This is the place where the Buddha gave his first teaching after attaining enlightenment in Bodh Gaya, which is today in the Bihar state of India. You will see later during your visit to the archaeological sites, the excavated ruin of the ancient site and the stupa commemorating the first turning of the wheel of Dharma. Starting from that first teaching on the Four Noble Truths, here in the Sarnath, Buddha gave many teachings on the diverse topics to diverse audience. Just as there are different remedies for the different disease problems, likewise there are various types of emotion inside human being. Among them, the development of karuna or compassion and loving kindness, etc. Positive human qualities are essential for happiness, peace and stability, harmony in the society. Development of nation or country is possible only when there is stability and harmony and peace in the society. On the other hand, there are also destructive emotions such as attachment, anger, jealousy, etc. inside human being, because of which situation arises that lead to the various problems like argument, conflict, and even war break out between the family, society, and countries. Therefore, in order to have control over such situation, when mind training and spiritual practice alone is not sufficient, it's become necessary for a country or nation to have various organizations and departments like defense and so on. In this regard, honestly speaking, I don't think I am in the position to address such an august gathering of the patriotic personage because, as you can see, I am a monk. And my view is that Vasudeva Kutumbakam, which means that the world is one family. The reason behind such a view is that because we are all made up of the same elements, to specify this in Buddhist terminology, we are all made up of 5 aggregates: form, sensation, perception, mental violation, and consciousness. And we all desire happiness and not suffering. In terms of Buddhist teaching, the philosophy of Pratitya Samutpat, dependent origination, as taught by the Tathagat Buddha, show us that we are all dependent on each other. Existence of the other without the one is not possible. For example, just as the sun, moon, earth, stars, these universes also exist, depending on each other gravity power. The moment there is some sort of disbalance in these different elements of the universe, our very existence will come to an end. Likewise, the body of our consists of the various parts such as brain, heart, kidney, liver, nerves, oxygen, energy, and so on. And our life is possible because of the composition of these different parts of our body. How will our complete existence be possible without one of them? In this way, going beyond nationalism, we contemplate on the coexistence of entire universe. On the other hand, you are someone who sacrifices everything for your nation, country. So I don't know what I should say to great patriotic like you. But yes, what I definitely want to say is that I will just share a few things with you to give you glimpses of the Indian culture and a brief introduction of this institute. For thousands of years, the country has coexisted with the various religious traditions such as Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, Islam, and Christianity. You would be surprised to know that in just one small village of India, you will see about 50 Hindu families, about 10 Muslim families, about 2-3 Christian families living together, following their own religious tradition and culture without any fear and discrimination. Mainly, I am speaking this for those who come from abroad. Mostly I am seeing that most of colonels are Indian, so I need not to emphasize on this, but anyhow, you wouldn't see something like this in any other place in the world. India is indeed a country of diverse culture and religious tradition. Everyone is living together harmoniously. That is an extraordinary aspect of Indian culture that I am sure you will be witnessing in this next few days of your stay in the city. Another aspect of greatness of this Indian culture can be seen through India's respective approach toward the people from the neighboring countries. For generations, thousands of refugees from the neighboring countries come to India where they are provided shelter and help despite India's own people facing shortage of basic necessities. This institute is also a result of India's greatness in terms of generosity. Despite the shortage of basic necessities such as education, healthcare, which are extremely necessary in the daily life for its own people. For years and years, this country has been kindly taking care of the refugee students along with the students of Indian border areas as Himalayan areas of the neighboring countries like Bhutan, Nepal, etc., accepting them in the spirit of Atithi Devo Bhav. Guests are the gods. When His Holiness Dalai Lama arrived in exile in India, on his request, the first Prime Minister of the independent India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, established this institute in 1967 along with the preservation of Tibetan culture and knowledge in order to facilitate the people from the Indian Himalayan border area such as Arunachal Pradesh, Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, who is in ancient time used to go to Tibet for their traditional Buddhist studies. When this stopped after 1959, this institute was established for the continuation of the traditional Buddhist studies for the students from Indian Himalaya border areas along the students from Tibetan refugee community in exile India. Since the mission of the institute is to preserve Tibetan culture and tradition rooted in the ancient Indian knowledge system and to restore ancient Indian sciences and literature preserved in Tibetan language but lost in the original. The medium of instruction of teaching, learning in this institute is Tibetan language, along with the traditional Buddhist subject, Soaripa, Tibetan medicine, astrology, traditional Tibetan thangka painting and wood carving being taught in a modern university framework, classical and modern languages such as Sanskrit, Pali, Hindi, and English, few subjects of the social science like Tibetan and Asian history, economic, political science are also taught here an optional subject. The motto of this institute is Buddho Bhavayam Jagat Hitaya. May I become Buddha for the benefit of the world. What this means is that I wish to be enlightened like the Buddha because I wish to benefit others, and the way in which benefit to the other is done are on the basis of principles mentioned above, such as compassion, love, kindness, interdependent origination, harmonious coexistence, acceptance, tolerance, and so on. These are indeed the sources of inspiration for the embarking on the path of benefiting others. And we believe in the Buddhist saying that Yat aham tat ete, yat ete tat aham. Just as I am, others are too. Just as others are, I am too. And we constantly work toward the development of such thought within us. Tibetan culture is primarily based on ancient Indian Nalanda Buddhist culture. Ancient Indian university like Nalanda of the 6th, 7th centuries were a place where great number of people from all over the Asia would come to study in India. India at that time was very popular in Asia, was known as the Bishop Guru, teacher of the world. In fact, the British poet Sir Edwin Arnold called Buddha the light of Asia around that time. In terms of Tibet, scholars from India such as Acharya Shantarakshita from Vikramshila and Acharya Padmasambhava from Oriana were invited to Tibet in 7th century, and they established Buddhism in Tibet at the request of then Tibetan king. After that, all the Buddha's teaching that were originally in the Sanskrit, according to the ancient Indian Nalanda Buddhist tradition, was translated into Tibetan. Today, those translated Buddhist teachings are available in the form of collection known as a Kanjur and Tanjur. The translated teaching of the Buddha himself or the words of the Buddha are known as Kanjur, and it is in the form of 108 volumes. The translated commentary by Indian Buddhist masters such as Acharya Nagarjuna from Nagarjuna, Hyderabad, Dingnak from Orissa, Chandrakirti from Gujarat, and so on are known as the Tanjur, and is in the form of 215 volumes with around 4,567 titles. In terms of the content, there are Buddhist philosophy, literature, medicine, fine arts, astrology, etc., all major and minor Indian sciences. Thus, Tibetan culture is primarily based on the ancient Indian Nalanda Buddhist tradition. In terms of Tibetan language, it's based on Sanskrit and has similar vowels and consonants as in Sanskrit. You can see some of these when you visit our library. Thus, in one way, this institute is for the preservation of Tibetan Buddhist culture, and on the other hand, it is for the revival of Buddhism in India through restoring Buddhist philosophical texts into Sanskrit from their Tibetan translations and translating the Buddhist texts into Hindi from the Tibetan. In terms of English translation of Buddhist teachings, it is being done all over the world. Our institute's focus is mainly on the restoring Buddhist texts into Sanskrit and translating into Hindi from Tibetan, thus reviving, preserving, and flourishing the lost ancient Indian Nalanda Buddhist tradition in the land of its origin from Tibetan Buddhist tradition, as it was preserved in the form of Tibetan Buddhist tradition for thousands of years. With this brief introduction of our institute, I once again welcome you all to this ancient city of Varanasi, which is the most ancient of the all ancient city in the world. The city in which Buddha turned the wheel of Dhamma about 2,556 years ago and showed the path to enlighten to thousands of beings. Apart from that, I am not emphasized here on Buddhism, essence of Buddhism. after this session, if someone have query and question regarding the Buddhist philosophy, regarding the Buddhist culture, I am very much happy to question answer with this thing.